Welcome to your second day of remote learning. Hope everybody is nice and warm and safe in your houses as you're getting into your lessons today. So we're going to be just continuing on with Codesters. Today, the lesson that you can see, I've pulled up the next lesson, which is lesson 4 in Python, and it's called Night Sky. So many of you have completed lessons 1 through 3, no problem, done a great job. Several people are still desperately far behind. So I would recommend, once again, today, go ahead and get started with lesson 4, follow along with the class, and then tomorrow, when hopefully, fingers crossed, we're finally back in person at school, you're going to be able to have just the whole period to go back and comb through the stuff that you've missed and complete completed lessons and get things checked off and get things done. So I wanted to just go through with you this introduction slide to just go over some of the concepts that you're going to need in order to be successful with this lesson, Night Sky. So what we're doing now is we are looking at sprites and the characteristics of the sprite. So not only are we going to be doing that, but as it says here, we're going to be using variables to store integers and strings, and then we're going to use them as arguments to change the size, the shape, and the color of objects on the stage. And by doing this, we're going to improve efficiency in programming, and we're going to use those variables to change a value in multiple places. So as you can see here, this stage, this is what we're going to be doing for most of the time. We're going to have these stars kind of set up in this like space background, and you're going to be going through and you're going to change every single star, but you're going to do it all at the same time. So you'll set it up so that the the color on the star, instead of being yellow, it's going to be a variable, so star color, and then you can change the value of that star color and then have all of the stars change all at the same time instead of having to go through and change each one individually. So we have different types of variables that we've looked at. So this is just kind of a review of some of the vocabulary that you're going to use and that we've kind of talked about. You have an integer variable, which is an integer or a whole number value that it holds. There's a string variable, and remember, strings, you can always tell it's a string because it has the quotation marks around it. It typically stores text, but you can put quotation marks around a number and make that a string. Um, and you have arguments, and this is information that's given to a command, and it indicates how it should be done. So you can use variables as an argument. If you remember, when you create a sprite, you tell it certain things like where it's located on the stage, or what the image for the sprite's going to be, or how big it's supposed to be, and those are all arguments that you give to that command. So when we create a star sprite, it's actually kind of a shape that's predefined, and they have different arguments that indicate different parts about the star. So on the screen here, you can see the variable name, in this case, is the default, which is the sprite. And then you have the command that creates the star. So you have the codesters.star. And then see this kind of line here is the comment that shows you the formula for how to put together the command. So the first number is the x coordinate, so that's a 0. The second number is the y coordinate, so that's a 0. So this is saying that this star is going to be placed smack dab in the middle of the screen. And then you have points, which is how many kind of tips the star has going around it. So defaults is to 5, but you can make it 10, you can make it 100, you can make it 3. So you can change that. The radius is kind of how big the star is going to be, and then the color is, of course, what color is the star going to be when it's drawn. So those are the different values and the different meanings of those arguments that you're going to be using throughout the lesson today. So when you create a variable, and I guess you can't see this. There's the little thing that says variable value. You create a variable, you start by giving the variable a name. There we go. So give it a name, and then you say equals, and then you're going to give what the value is that is going to be assigned to that variable. That's all you got to do to create the variable. So in this case, it's saying a variable creation statement uses an equal sign to connect the name to the stored value. And this is the same if you want to assign a new value to that variable. You would just put the name of the variable and equals and put what the new value is. So in this case, we're creating a variable called color, and it equals the string yellow. So in this case, color is going to be a string variable. And then size equals 50. So size is going to be an integer variable. You set up the type of variable when you give it that first value. So if you give it the value of a number, then it's a number. If you give it the value of a string, then it's a string. So in this case, you can use, as I was explaining in the kind of introduction to the lesson, you can use variables for your arguments. Instead of putting an actual number or an actual string, you can put in the variable. So you set up, or they have set up on, in this case, these few lines of code, the star size is 50, and then the color is yellow. And then inside of the actual command, instead of putting 50 where you're supposed to put radius, they're putting the variable star size. And instead of putting color, an actual string, they're putting the variable, which is the color. So variables should not be surrounded by quotes. So when you put them in here, even though it says color and it's in quotes, since we're using a variable, we don't need the quotes. The variable contains a string, so it's going to send in a string when it executes that command. So for the lesson today, you're going to be going through and using string variables and integer variables as arguments for multiple sprites. And then at the end of the lesson, you'll create a virtual kaleidoscope using variables to control the appearance of multiple sprites on the stage. So what you're going to have to do is kind of set up a pattern, if you will, of the different images to look like what a kaleidoscope would look like. So this person in particular set up a kind of a circle of circles, and they've got the smaller circle and the bigger circle, and they've set up the color of the second layer and the color of the first layer and the number of the circles and all of those things. So if you have questions throughout the day, feel free to email me. We can definitely get on Zoom, and you can share your screen and show me the questions, and I can look at it and let you know kind of what you're missing or what's going on, if you're having concerns. Or hopefully, if you just email me the question, I can answer it just on the email. But I'm definitely available to be able to help. And if you're working on previous lessons and you have issues with them, then let me know as well. I want you guys to be able to feel successful and feel like you were able to get some things done today, and hopefully keep pace with the class. Those of you who are a little ahead, I open up the next lesson after this one, so you can continue working if you'd like to do that today. If not, then just take kind of a break, and because tomorrow we're going to be doing a makeup day and we're not going to have new content. So either way, continue working, continue progressing. Good luck, and hopefully we'll see you in person tomorrow.